Hello and welcome back to another notes video. The topic of this notes video is meiosis. So let's do a quick review. Last class we talked about mitosis, which is your body cells. All of the cells in your body contain genetic information. Your body contains trillions of cells, but those cells can be categorized into two types: body cells and sex cells. Body cells are diploid, meaning they're a complete cell. They have both halves of the DNA. Body cells are formed by mitosis. Another word for body cell is somatic cells. These include things like skin cells, liver cells, hair cells, nail cells. These are all body cells. Body cells, another word for body cells being diploid is 2N, because it contains two sets of chromosomes, the full set. Sex cells, on the other hand, are haploid. They are half cells, or 1N. These cells are formed by meiosis. Another word for sex cells is gametes. Examples of gametes are eggs for women and sperm for men. Sex cells being haploid means they only contain one set of chromosomes from one parent. So, how are sperm and egg made? Where do they come from? Well, they're made by the process of meiosis. Meiosis is a lot like mitosis, except double it, right? Because meiosis creates half cells that are genetically unique. Every egg a woman produces, or every sperm a male produces, is different from another one. That's because meiosis involves two divisions. During interphase, DNA replicates, same as mitosis. However, mitosis only has one division. Meiosis has two divisions. Think mitosis times 2. During the first prophase of meiosis, there's something called crossing over. This is where chromosomes, when they literally overlap each other, they exchange segments. That's why the DNA produced at the end of prophase 1 is different. They are genetically different. Homologous chromosomes cross over and exchange pieces of information. Here's a better visual of this happening. On the left, we have our homologous chromosomes, and on the right, you can see that they each exchanged a piece. Think of kind of like changing one shoe with your friend. They cross over and they exchange pieces. After prophase comes prophase 1 becomes metaphase 1. Meta, same as mitosis, equals middle. Those chromosomes line up along the middle and are attached to spindle fibers that eventually pull them apart in anaphase 1. Telophase 1, you end with two cells stuck together. You now have whole cells, because you've only divided once. Remember back to mitosis. When you multiply by 2, DNA doubles, and then divide by 2, dividing the two cells in half, you end with the same amount of DNA that you started with. However, meiosis goes through another division, a second division. So, as you can see in this image, that's what's happening in meiosis 1. We're ending with two whole cells. Well, those two whole cells divide again. We go into prophase 2. They're similar to prophase 1, except there's no crossing over this time. Metaphase, same as metaphase 1, you line up along the middle. Anaphase, they're pulled apart. And telophase, they're two stuck together. But this time, at the end of telophase, because we had two cells dividing in two, we now end with 4 haploid cells. They're half cells because when they divided again, there was no another doubling of DNA. There's only one interphase happening during mitosis. There's only one doubling of the DNA. Meiosis has dividing twice. So if you take 2 and you multiply it by 2 in interphase, you have 4. If you divide it by 2, like you did in meiosis 1, you have 2, the same number you started with. If you divide by 2 again in meiosis 2, you now have 1. 1 is half of what you started with. you started with 2. These cells are also genetically unique. They're unique because of the crossing over that happens in prophase 1, the exchanging of chromosomes. Just like if you were to exchange one shoe with your friend, you now have a very unique outfit. Here's what's happening in meiosis 2. 2 cells line up, they divide, and you end with 4 half cells. Let's compare mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis and meiosis look the exact same during interphase. Meiosis 1 looks a lot like mitosis 1. There's a division of the cell from 1 cell to 2 cells. Now's when it becomes different. Meiosis 2, it divides again, producing 4 half cells. What would these look like? Look at your assignments in Schoology. You need to know what each of these phases look like. Prophase 1 and prophase 2 will look very similar because prophase is preparing. Same with metaphase 1 and 2. The main difference being is the number of cells you have going through the process. In prophase 1, you have 1 cell that is dividing. In prophase 2, you have 2 cells that are dividing.